Well, we've come to the end of the week of our personal D.A.R.E week, and we've talked about personal discipline, personal accountability, personal responsibility, and now we pull it all together. And how do you develop personal empowerment? Yes, personal empowerment gives you the momentum and the push to do all the others, but it has to be developed. The oddest thing I've experienced after 1,013 kids, 600 families, 10,000 researched adults, and thousands of people asking questions after 3,000 speeches is that no one has ever asked me this question. How do you develop personal empowerment? It's like every human being is powerless to be able to decide this for themselves. We avoid talking about it. When I say to people who struggle with this, you have the power, they react as if it could never happen for them, that there is too much they do not know and do not have. I'm just not there. I just don't have what it takes. You cannot think that way. If you're going to live your best life and become an 831er that makes a difference in people's lives, you can make all the difference if you do it right just once. You may only intersect with someone once, and it may be your one kind thing that makes all the difference in their lives. I'm Jungle Jim Hunter, and you're listening to 831 Living Your Best Life podcast, and I'm going to empower you and inspire you today. Please go to your favorite podcast provider to download the program and subscribe and click on like, and let us know how we can help you. I had worked on the farm with Dad. The concussion recovery was over. It was complete. And now I was 11 and a half years of age, and I wasn't allowed to go back to school. So that spring, I started working with my dad on the farm. He said, I'm going to do something that I trust you with that means so much to me. And if you knew my dad, you knew that this was an incredible sacrifice. He said, son, you're going to seed my favorite field. Pressure. This is a field that he grew more grain on than any other field. There I was, a 14-foot drill, 3.5 days going 4 miles an hour east and west all day, 17, 18 hours a day. Filling the drills, doing a field till it ran out, stopping, filling them again, and finally I finished. Relief came. We finished seeding that field. And that was it. He didn't say anything. He said, okay, let's go on and seed the rest of the fields. A month later, he got me up before it was light. We drove out to that field to the west side of it, and we stood on the west side looking east, and the sun was just starting to peek its head. We walked from north to south, picking rocks, looking at weeds, looking at how we had to spray them, and when we got to the south side, there was a rock that had pulled up, and so he had me pick it up and put it on the field edge. When I turned around, I looked back. I saw my dad on his knees, probably looking at a weed. When I got to him, there were tears streaming down his face. He put his hands on my shoulders. He said, son, I am so proud of you. Do you realize what you've done? Do you realize that you seeded this field and there are no misses? Every row is straight. Every row was green and up, and there were no misses. You didn't miss once of making sure that the drills were full of grain. You can do what I can do. By now, the tears are streaming down my face, and he's crying, and I'm crying, and the swell inside me was so much. It was an explosion that thinking about it sends a chill up and down my back even now as I say it. Dad knew what I was before the accident, what I was going through. I was angry, I was mad, I was impatient, I wasn't who I used to be. I used to be smart, and now I was just kind of dull. I was discouraged and sometimes depressed. But this made me think. It made me feel I could do anything. He reached my core. When you speak to someone, try to see where they are emotionally and reach them where they are emotionally, not where you are, where they are. Aspiring to that level of excellence was the endorsement I sought from that moment on for the rest of my life, no matter what I did. 831 happened because I was prepared before the age of 12, but the great news for you is that you can grow anytime, anywhere, at any age if you will choose to give yourself the empowerment and stop believing destructive lies you tell yourself. You don't have to start over. You don't have to be young again and have your parents retrain you. You don't even have to go to a psychologist if you don't want to. All you have to do is empower yourself to believe what you believe about yourself. Now, remember, the word believe contains the word lie, and we are empowered positively or negatively based on the power we give to the conditioning and habits we have told ourselves most often. So here's the test. What do you say to yourself most often? For that is the direction you are heading. Change the way you talk to yourself and to others, and it changes everything. An empowered person is someone that decides what they are going to do and does it. Then they condition every part of themselves to do it. Growth is within your power and grasp. Empowerment is the authority or power given to someone to do something. It is the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially controlling your life. Change the way you talk to yourself and to others, and it changes you. The term empowerment refers to measuring designed to increase the degree of autonomy and self-determination in people, in the community you live in, to enable them to represent their interests in a responsible and self-determined way, acting on their own authority. My quote for the day: do now what's important so you own it, and your future is one. I'm Jungle Jim Hunter, and you've been listening to 831 Living Your Best Life podcast. I hope I empowered you today to go out and live your best life and become an 831er. Please tell others about the podcast and tell them they can download it from their favorite podcast provider, and click on subscribe and download and like, and let us know how we can help you. Now, I want to end this week with my personal dare to you. The two middle words of the word dare are accountability and responsibility. They speak of potential to be great. They speak of potential to grow. It depends on how personal you are willing to invest in your growth. They're surrounded by discipline at the front and empowerment at the back. These are the fuel. If you and anyone that you know needs to be challenged, challenge them to become disciplined and empower them by encouraging them with kindness. The more interdependent you are in helping others, in other words, not doing it for them, but letting them do it for themselves, they can start with just 1% per day. Yes, that's it. 1% per day. That's 15 minutes a day. Just stop and listen to this podcast. The first 7-8 minutes will give you a jolt, and then act upon it in the next 7 minutes. Do something right then, and in that 15 minutes, you can become an 831er. I hope you will do so. I hope that you will have grown before we meet next time. Thanks for listening.